Welcome to the Delco Nerd Network Hot Takes. You're probably asking, Gooch, what is exactly a hot take? Well, it's where a few friends get in a basement, give our thoughts, give our opinions on a TV show, a movie, or a game. Today, we're going to be talking about a game, and that game is Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. To discuss, of course, as always, my co-host, Chris Trio.
What's going on, guys? How are you, Gooch?
I'm good. I'm good.
We're going to talk a little Sekiro.
We are. So, hold on, sip.
Sip.
You gotta finish up this protein shake.
Me too. I have my Yoo-hoo.
So, first off, to start it off, I want you to give your opinion because I feel like I came into the Sekiro with a little bit of bias because I played all the From Software games.
Sure.
You only played Bloodborne?
Yeah, that's the only one I've played. Like,
so what'd you think of Sekiro? First few
impressions.
hours.
I liked it a lot. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it hooked me right away. And I didn't want to stop playing, which is good. That's a first good sign for a game. I liked the mechanics. I liked the stealth mechanics a lot. I liked the verticality of the maps. Like, the way you kind of explore the world, I thought was really intriguing. And
it's very different compared to, like, Souls and Bloodborne. Like, definitely. Verticality in that manner has not really been done.
Definitely.
So that was, like, that's, like, one big difference between Sekiro and Souls and Bloodborne.
But, yeah, no, it's interesting. I actually just like the whole aesthetic of it, really, too. I like the kind of feudal Japan vibe, and even the prosthetic tool I thought was an interesting addition. So, in Bloodborne and stuff, you'd switch weapons, right?
So,
whereas in this, you keep your katana the whole time, but the thing that you're switching up is your prosthetic tool, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Compared to the other games, like Sekiro, like, you don't switch weapons. You have the same sword, and, like, that's it. And there's no stats or anything. No. There's no really a huge RPG elements besides the progression of your attack, your health, and your prosthetics.
Yes.
And upgrading them, and your skills.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much your progression systems. Whereas, Bloodborne and Souls, you have, like, attributes and
armor sets,
even
armors
and there's no skills in that game, but it's all based on stats and leveling.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like you still level up, but it's not like you are level 5, you are level 6. It's not as obvious.
You just get the prayer beads or whatever, and then that levels up your health. And then what do you have to do to level up the attack power? Is that the memories?
Yeah.
So
definitely major bosses drop memories, which increase your attack power.
So maybe I guess I did kind of like that more about Bloodborne, I'd say. The being able to kind of customize your character a little bit more and kind of put your own flavor on them. But I mean, I really kind of enjoyed the wolf as the protagonist. I mean, I haven't finished the game yet.
Yeah. FYI, neither of us has finished the game. I'm literally at the end. I have 2 more bosses, and
how far would you say I am?
You're like 3/4.
Mm-hmm.
You're there.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting there.
See,
you don't have much left. Like it might take you a few weeks to do it. But like in the grand scheme of things, you don't have a lot left, and there's a lot of optional stuff you can choose to do and not do.
There's all these I'm trying to kill all these headless, but I'm running out of divine confetti. Like so I don't even
later in the game, you get an unlock that.
Yeah.
I don't actually know what unlocks it, but like some vendors have.
I read online, that like you have to beat a certain boss, and then it unlocks the.
I think I know what boss
divine
it is.
Confetti,
I won't say.
But the headless are interesting. I mean the fighting systems definitely. I mean it's similar yet different. Obviously,
it's very similar to Bloodborne and maybe Dark Souls 3 because that's the faster of the 3 Souls games.
Sure. Yeah.
But I still think it's more similar to Bloodborne, as where Bloodborne was forcing you to be aggressive, to essentially be on the offense and defense aggressively. Like that's how like the play style was meant to be. And this game is sort of similar. You can definitely go on the defense a little harder, but I feel like the game wants you to get in there and deflect. And which is something that took me a while to really not maybe like understand, but like try
wrap
to
your head
do.
around. Yeah, no,
I understand how to block, and then once I realized you can just hit L1 and
just kind of
kind of like spam block to like
definitely
to like not abuse it, but just
get
better at it.
Yeah, and the idea is you have to counter at the exact time that they're swiping, and obviously I'd fuck up sometimes on the bigger enemies, and they one swipe you and get fucking half your health down.
So when I first started the game, I was really went into it as like this is going to be the next Soulsborne game.
Sure.
And that was a terrible idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I really did not like the game at the start. I liked it, but I was just not, it wasn't...
You appreciated it, but you didn't...
It wasn't scratching the itch that Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 did for me. Which, mind you, I didn't play them when they came out. I played them within the last year and like, platinum and 100%ed both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I played them like to their fullest and experienced their story and their gameplay. Mind you, Sekiro's plot is a lot more straightforward. It's very obvious what's going on.
Yeah, there's cutscenes and such.
Sekiro is, you know, the main character's name is where in Bloodborne and Dark Souls you are like a title,
hunter,
and you're just a random dude, and like you don't have any story necessarily. And even the world of Sekiro and the universe isn't as fleshed out or as interesting as Dark Souls 3 or Dark Souls and Bloodborne. As you get further into the game, I feel the story and the narrative gets a little more interesting, but at the beginning, it's really just nothing.
Yeah, well, I think
like,
it's definitely more...
To the point of, like, why even have, like, this linear story if it's just, like, absolutely nothing?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, I actually kind of appreciated the linear story more than,
it's
like,
weird.
a Bloodborne.
It's weird that I didn't.
No, and I get that, and I get where you're coming from with Bloodborne and all that. It's a lot more environmental storytelling in that, and you're picking up things, right? Is that wrong to say? And you're picking up things that kind of tell you a story.
Sekiro kind of does that. If you just like take a minute to like look around, but it's not as like
they're relying much more on the linear story or those cutscenes and everything to tell you what's going on.
Yeah, and
right?
actually, you know, Sekiro talks.
Yeah,
like, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like in Dark Souls, you don't.
Yeah, I mean, I loved all like the imagery and even just like the certain shots, like when he goes to his katana and he lifts it out with the thumb and he's getting ready. Like I don't know, I really like the samurai Japanese feudal Japan era stuff.
Kind of going off that, like going into it, like I'm not really into feudal Japan like at all for some reason, and like getting into like Sekiro and eventually Ghost of Tsushima was kind of just like, you know, I don't really like these, but like the games look good. I'm gonna give it a shot.
Yeah.
That was so going into it, I wasn't really like hot on that
area or era.
I want to say genre, but
yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah. So if you're going into this game and you have not picked it up, don't fucking compare it to Bloodborne and Dark Souls.
Yeah.
It's really not like them at all. It's cut from the same cloth, but it is not similar to those games by any fucking means.
Mechanically speaking, do you think it's more or less complicated? Fighting-wise, I guess I should say.
Much more complicated.
Yeah.
I think so, like, a lot of the I want to say controversy, but calling it that is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the fact that, like, the conversation came back up of difficulty in video games and is, like, absolutely absurd because, like, where have you been? Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne. I'm like, it's been there. Like, this isn't new. And, like, it's like, oh, like, why isn't there an easy mode? I'm like, what do you mean?
I saw that there was an article from someone. It was like, Sekiro owes it to its players to make an easy mode.
I can understand accessibility features. That's different.
No, definitely.
Like not making the game easier, but having options and stuff to, like, if, you know, for people who are disabled or have issues, like, colorblindness is an option that I know is in accessibilities, not for Sekiro, but like in other games. Like, I know Battlefield always has, you can change the color. You know how, like, enemies are red?
Yeah.
Like, they're like icons.
Sure, yeah.
You can change that around to, like, different colors for, like, different...
To make it easier.
Like, vision types.
Interesting. I didn't know that, actually.
And, I can...
And, like, Sekiro doesn't have features like that?
I don't know. I don't think it does. I didn't look for accessibility. I should have, and I thought about it. I was like, oh, I should look at it just to see what it has. But, like, the debate of, like, is Sekiro too hard? No. Honestly, in fact, it's easier than all the Souls and Bloodborne
I was about to say,
games.
I've actually found it easier.
What's hard is understanding the combat, understanding how to fight and deflect and just be good at that.
And using certain prosthetic tools and all that.
You can literally half-shot most mini-bosses.
Yeah.
And you can literally one-shot every enemy.
Yeah.
It's not harder.
No, it's
not.
Like,
I don't understand
especially with
when people
the
make
stealth
that claim.
mechanics of, like, literally, it's you can assassinate enemies, basically, and it is funny, I found... Some of the, like, smaller enemies I found to be harder than some of the mini bosses sometimes.
Yeah, the rats.
I was like, it's like, what the fuck is going on? There was one guy that came after me. I don't know what type of enemy he was, but he was kind of like a shinobi, but he was just like
the one on purple dude?
No, not the purple guy. he's just a regular kind of enemy. But I was like, fuck, he fucked me up. Like, I don't know what the hell. But then I will say, they do a really good job of, and I mean, I guess this is all Bloodborne and Souls games, of when you die, you do learn how that enemy is attacking, and you can go in and you know how to react and all that good stuff.
Speaking of dying, what's new to this game is like a resurrection mechanic, which doesn't necessarily, it's not really a thing in the other games.
Yeah, you just
and I like it, and I like how the mechanic sort of feeds back into the gameplay, but like I don't really understand like what the point of Dragon Rot is, because I felt like I never let it go low enough to like I don't think
What do you mean? You don't get like what?
Can people die from Dragon Rot?
I've never let it get so bad.
What does it do?
Well, because the one lady's dead when you go back to her. If you ever like the guy's like, can you check on my mom in that house?
They both die after a certain point. It's part of their
so I don't know if. Yeah, I don't know. I was curing the Dragon Rot usually when my thing got to like 13%. Like
once I got like 3 cards of like somebody was sick, I would usually cure it. But like I like how like they introduced like a mechanic in the gameplay, and also like this resurrection mechanic, because it's much easier to get fucked up in that game.
No, definitely.
Certain bosses.
I mean, literally, it will take like 2 swipes sometimes from certain bosses, and even like I'm facing Owl right now, and his fucking thing where he like grabs you. Like when you're trying to attack him, and then he just sticks his sword through you and fucks you up. So
what I did for that boss is don't do any charge up attacks. 1 hit, run away.
Okay.
1 hit. And I mean literally 1 hit. Every time he like throws that thing, that is your like opportunity to go in. Or after he finishes a combo. Yeah. He's actually very easy. He's not hard.
No, I know. I was this close to killing him.
You up.
And that's what I charged up, and he got me in that thing and just...
The second phase of that fight is difficult for me. Gino, can you shut the fuck up? You are annoying. My goddamn dog, man. I swear to God.
Puppies.
Shut up. Al's second phase is really the harder part. He does this thing where he like throws poison out, and then he like comes at you, and you kind of have to like maneuver around him. But like more often than not, I was getting hit, but that's kind of where the difficulty lies.
Yeah. And even like I like the whole idea of like the healing gourd and like certain
just
ideas
like
upgrade. Yeah. So is that what that? Okay.
Yeah. So in Dark Souls, you have an Estus flask.
Okay.
Same mechanic.
Literally. Did they have anything like that in Bloodborne? I can't remember.
No. So
I didn't think so.
They kind of took the Estus thing out and just put in blood vials where like you had to buy them.
Yeah.
So that was a little different in that game where like you could run out of blood vials and there was no way to heal unless you were like getting hit and going right in and getting the damage and the visceral attacks and stuff.
Yeah. No, I really like the idea of just the world you're living in. I think they did a good job with the fighting. I never found like in Bloodborne, I literally got to bosses and I'm like, I can't beat this without help. Like, I don't know what I'm like, but whereas in this,
I'm at a boss where I'm definitely at that point. The first boss in the game where I think is wow, I'm like, this is a little hard.
In Sekiro?
It's I'm not gonna say what it is just for the sake of like,
sure,
it doesn't really make a difference. He's an optional boss. And he's very Dark Souls and Bloodborne-esque. He's like a big creature, and he fucking like goes
wings.
Yeah. Not like most of the bosses where you're fighting people with swords and like deflection.
You can deflect. Yeah.
Is more of a mechanic. But like with him, it's just like wow. It's like it's really not about deflecting. It's really just about getting attacks in because you can't really deflect him to get his posture down to get a thing down. Like,
and then I did like the idea of the posture and everything. You have to break that.
Yeah, once I understood the posture mechanic, I understood how to like
what was going on.
Go up against it and go up against enemies that really I needed to like deflect. One of those is like Rin of the Water is one of those fights where you have to deflect.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the exact opposite, like right after that, you fight the corrupted monk.
Yeah,
and that's an example of a fight where like you cannot break her posture.
Yeah, you just have to keep going. Yeah. You just have to keep going at them. And you're right. It is interesting that like this game is harder to understand the mechanics, but once you do get them down, the game's so much easier. And there are fights like you said, you just have to go on the defensive. You just
have to
deflect, and that's it, and get their posture down. And you might get away a little bit of their health. And even like I was learning stuff like I didn't realize that you have to block, and that makes your posture go down quicker, and all that stuff. There's a lot of mechanics that I've actually just learned through the loading screen, which I think has been pretty helpful.
One thing that absolutely like bamboozled me in the beginning was the fucking Miraki counter.
Like Mirakuru counter. Yeah,
Mirakuru.
No.
What is Zero?
Oh no, yeah,
it's Miraki or something. It's Mhikri. Mirakuru.
I was like, yeah, it definitely sounds right. Come on. Which one's that? Is that
when you hit circle? We both played on PS4, by the way.
Okay, yeah.
And like that, I was just like, what the fuck? Like,
wait, you hit circle. So you hit circle
when they thrust at you with a spear. If you deflect and hit circle, you bash their spear down and then you stab them.
I did not know that.
You've never done that?
No, I did not know. See, another thing is
you gotta learn how to do it.
My square is my circle. Now.
Oh, you switched it around.
So I just switched circle and square because that was always my dodge on. So circle's my interact button now instead of square.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Square is my dodge.
Okay. So like one thing I think I would have switched controls around if I knew you could do it right at the beginning, because like Dark Souls and Bloodborne are like controls are a lot different.
Yeah.
And I was switching between Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro with actually like no issue at all. One thing that doesn't affect me personally is like control scheme switches. I usually can figure it out.
It depends for me on how long I've been playing a certain game and how different the controls are. But for the most part, yeah, I think I'm fine. And like and I will give it to most games these days, they follow mostly the same pattern of controlling. Even like X or square, I guess it would be on PlayStation, is what I used to dodge in Assassin's Creed, and I was playing that a bunch. So that's why I switched it.
Origins to Horizon was really confusing because their kneel and dodge buttons were switched, and that really fucked me up.
Yeah, but I will say Sekiro, you can literally switch around the controls to whatever you want, which was cool. Like I got to the first boss and the circle was throwing me off. I'm like, what the fuck? I can't. So I just went into the controls, and it took me a little bit to get used to that again, but
going back to the kind of the combat, one of the things you can do is you get a lot of items like the sugars, which help you out, which I found were really useful
for sure.
One thing about the items though, like it's so hard to not compare the games, but like talking about like the world and the universe building and how Dark Souls and Bloodborne do that through item descriptions.
Sure.
In this game, like, the item descriptions are either very just, like, generic or very, like, don't really tell you really much about,
they're kind of like, this
some
is
sort of story.
Sugar,
usually, like,
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, like those ones are kind of interesting, but, like, you don't really know those characters.
No.
Whereas, like, in Dark Souls, like, you might find, like, a piece of armor, and it's just, like, you know, the Knights of Lothric use this, and yada yada, and mention, like, Gwyn or like, a big figure that you're gonna hear about through other items and stuff. Whereas like in this game it really doesn't do that much. Even like the prosthetics are pretty like bland.
Yeah.
To the point where I just like skim them now.
Yes, it's funny. The ones that I find myself using the most are the shuriken, the spear, and the shield.
I use the flamethrower.
The flamethrower I'll throw in every once in a while.
The
firecrackers are really useful for certain bosses and stuff, definitely.
The shuriken. The phantom kunai when you get it is fucking awesome. But so yeah, some of the prosthetics like I haven't used
like
the shield
Mist
once.
Raven is see
the fan thing, the Mist
that
Raven
one I'm confused on how to use. Some of
and
them
I'm just like I don't even like understand really how to use these
like
or like why
they're mostly
effective.
They're blocks and counters. So like with the Mist Raven, you have to use it as someone's attacking you, and then you like kind of phase to a different spot. Yeah, again, I don't even in most games like an Injustice when they give you a parry move or something, I don't use it that much. I just never find myself. So yeah, I agree. Some of them were kind of.
Some of them are just like like the whistle, like very like. Why would you need that?
The whistle was that was I thought was that the snap? Oh yeah, was that a whistle? Why did I think it was a snap? See, I actually found that useful because I've never used it because I was like it would be more for stealth things. You draw people in to where you need to take them out. But yeah, no, I agree. I think half of them were kind of like okay. I guess I might use this
Yeah, and combat arts, some of them are the same way. Some of them are fucking awesome, and some of them are just like...
The one, yeah, so there's like 4 combat arts, right? Because I have all of them.
You've ended all the trees?
No, I'm sorry, not the combat. I thought you were talking about like the special. What's the not the ninjutsu.
The LBRB are combat arts.
Yeah, are they?
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Okay, I'm trying to think the combat arts because
like
there's one. It's like the one,
and you come down.
I thought there was only like 5.
No,
4 or 5. Because I got it.
So you can get like more skill trees besides prosthetic and the blade. You get Ashina from, I'm pretty sure you get that from Tengu.
Yeah, no, I know about all the different skill trees. I'm just confused. There's like the one that makes like you press LB and RB, you spin around.
Yeah, there's a few.
Then there's one.
There's a lot.
I thought there was because I got an achievement that says I got them all, and I only have like 4 or 5. I don't know. That's weird.
Maybe you got an achievement for getting all the trees in general, not the combat arts.
Yeah,
maybe I'm using the term wrong.
Yeah, no.
I might be.
But then there's like the ninjutsu, which were pretty.
I've
cool.
only have 2.
I have all of them definitely. I have like there's like 4.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I
have the
unless I'm like going insane.
I have the blood, the one where the blood comes out and stouts you, and then the puppeteer ninjutsu.
I have 2. There's another one where you like.
Do you get them all through skill trees?
No, you get them. You just find someone gives them to you in the world. Like you're just. There's one where you like stab the guy, and you pull it out, and it coats your blade in blood of some like magic blood, and it makes your attacks more powerful.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Huh. I don't know how I got.
Maybe
that
I have it. I just don't know it. But I've been using the puppeteer ninjutsu is really helpful.
See, the puppeteer one I haven't used as much. That's
Dude,
interesting. I gotta give it a try. All right.
You're gonna get to certain points where you're gonna fight a lot of purple ninjas and like stronger enemies, and like you don't fight one at a time. You fight like 3 or 2, and it's just like
fucking purple.
Some enemies are just like really hard to fight multiple.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
It's just like Dark Souls. It's just like I cannot take 2 of these at the same time
at
all.
No. So enemy types wise, do you think there was a lot of variety? Did you like? Did you think anything special?
Enough.
Yeah.
One thing I really, really, really don't like is like the reuse of mini bosses constantly.
Yeah, there's like 2 different headless.
There's like the headless are kind of different. They're like a special enemy. They're only like there's 4 of them, and you get the infinite versions of the sugars.
Did you beat the one that's under the water?
Yeah, they're easy.
I didn't realize. I was like, fuck. I went under there by accident, and I didn't. And he just started fucking me up. I didn't realize he was even there. I was like, what the fuck, headless? Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, like the big dudes are reused 3 times. I fought them, and it's just like it gets a little. This is like really.
Which like the trolls or whatever.
No, not the chained ogres. The drunkard guy.
Oh yeah.
You fight him 2 times after. Actually, well, you get to go back to Harada State for something.
I remember I had that one guy help me out with the first one, which was pretty nice. I went in and just took out all the little guys around him, and then I just put him in there.
Yeah, like the mini bosses are just reused a lot, and I kind of got to the point where I'm just like, ugh.
What's going on here? Yeah, I actually agree with that.
The reuse of mini bosses is a little annoying, and then like you do retread a lot of ground towards the end part of the game, which is kind of weird. You really like you go over a Sheena Castle 3 times. You lose all the things, and you have to go over. Oh no, wait! You first the purple guys if you're at Al.
Yeah.
So that happens.
Oh, that one! I gotta beat the one dude with his buddy in the dojo. Right below, he's
you gotta get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, So you can puppeteer ninjutsu that one dude and just go in.
How? See, but he's like to the left. Is he not looking at you when you? Can you like?
If you use a sugar, you can like get around him.
Okay, that's good to know. Actually.
Use your gaijin sugar, which are really useful. I like the sugars a lot.
Yeah.
What we're talking about. Yeah, and like I just don't like how you retread a lot of areas, and it's just like it forces you to like go back and get all the fucking things again. It's just like
no, it wasn't because it's funny. I got to Sheena Castle and I was like, oh, this is like there's totally different enemies.
Yeah, and that will happen again.
Oh really?
Where you have to do it again, and it's just like you could have just put a new area.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I don't really understand.
How many areas are there total? Do we know?
The only one you haven't been to that I know of is one more.
Okay.
There's one more area that I know you haven't been to.
Okay. Interesting.
But yeah, I feel like the map isn't huge compared to the other games, and I just feel like again much you're more reusing a lot of environment. Then like you go back and like you fight Genichiro in that one spot. You fight Al, and I think you fight another boss there, and like you just go back to the same places like quite often. It's just a little weird. I don't know. It's just reusing content for some reason.
And I guess maybe they're thinking. Like, since there's so much verticality to the map, you're getting it a little bit more. I don't know. I agree, though. I think that is weird. Was there any area you didn't like the most?
Not really. I kind of enjoyed most of the areas. There were no areas where I was like, wow, this is lame, or I didn't like it. I think most of the areas are pretty good. And I really like going back on the point of like, did I really enjoy it? At the beginning, I really did not like the game as much.
Yeah.
Once I got like past Genichiro the second time, after that, I think the game really kind of like is more interesting, especially as you go to the last area. The enemy types and the creatures there are a little different, and like it's more like Bloodborne-esque. It's just more interesting because like most of the time you're fighting just more people, and people
or giant chickens.
There's nothing weird about them at all.
And there are just some
except like the rat dude, but like at least in Bloodborne, like you're fighting like fucking like half beast,
like monsters, and there's like these weird,
and then it just gets more different and like crazy. And with this, the enemy design is a little more
tamed. For sure. Yeah, no, I agree with that, and it's funny.
And that's just the type of game it is. Like maybe I'm critiquing it again. Like comparing it to Dark Souls and Bloodborne for me is just like really hard. But, like, I kind of got away with it, at least within the beginning, and I kind of appreciated the game for what it is. But, like, every other thing, I'm, like, kind of comparing.
No,
because it's a From game, and I feel like I played them all, and I'm going to critique them like that.
No,
it's not a good idea, but
I think it's fun. I saw this one article, I can't remember who it was from. It was talking to, like, the head of From Software, and he's like...
Miyazaki.
And he was like, I would love to be able to do a game that's more story-focused rather than mechanics. And this seems like... They're kind of not a halfway point, but somewhere in between.
I would say that's like not a bad call.
Yeah.
It is kind of a halfway point. The story is not that engaging. It's okay. Like even at the ending, like there are a few different endings to get. One of them, which is at the point you are, where you can either side with Al or not.
Did you side with him?
No,
I didn't either.
No,
fuck him.
Yeah.
Kuro? That's his name, right?
Kuro, yeah, the Lord.
He's the man.
Little Lord. Little Lord.
Yeah.
You don't talk in the British accent.
All right, mate.
Right, little Lord. Go get you these dragon teas now.
Yeah. No, overall, I mean, I really am enjoying the game still. I see. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying, and I mean, I get it. It's hard not to come in with those preconceived notions, and you should kind of compare them a little bit, obviously, because they are from the same developer, and they still do use a lot of the same mechanics, and there's very extremely similar ideas going on. I don't... It's funny, I did tweet something the other day. I was like, I find it easier to find my way through this campaign, a little bit more easier than Bloodborne. And then after that, I got lost.
Yeah, so like, where you are is the part where, like, you have to retread old ground, and it doesn't really, like, explain that you have to do that.
Yeah.
And
that's
like,
definitely... Yeah. That got me. And but for the first... I don't know, I guess 3/4 whatever I got up to, I felt that I was being propelled more where I needed to go easier.
Oh, I went to Senpo Temple, like, way earlier than I should have.
I think I did too.
It wasn't hard, and I got through it, and then it was like, oh, like, you have to, like, find Kuro. I'm like, okay, see you in a bit.
That fucking dude on the bridge, I just threw him off by accident. That was lucky.
Oh, I didn't understand, like, what I was supposed to do, and I looked up a guide to kind of help me with the fight, because, like, honestly, with these games, like, I don't find the satisfying, like, oh, I did this blind, I figured it out on my own. Sometimes, like, you just, like, you just don't realize things. And,
no,
like,
you don't.
And, like, I'm not good with, like, diagnosing a boss and figuring out all their mechanics by dying 7,000 times.
And it was...
And like VatiVidya is a guy who does all the videos for the Souls games and all these games, and like I like playing through Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3, like watch his videos as I played the game, like kind of like learning more about like that zone or things I missed in that zone or like secrets to bosses that maybe like give you the upper edge. Like I don't think looking stuff up for those games is, like,
I agree. It was funny because
that boss was just like, I don't know what to fucking do.
I hit him the first time and then nothing happened. I'm like, what the fuck do I do? So I kept fighting him, and we just happened to be next to the edge, and I hit him and he went off. And
Are you playing in Japanese?
No, I kind of...
Second playthrough, I'm gonna play in Japanese.
I think that's it, just with subtitles.
Here's the thing about playing in Japanese. I'm not gonna intake what's going on as much because I'm reading subtitles and I'm not hearing.
I agree. I do think
second time through, I'm gonna play on Japanese.
Voice acting, I think, is really good. And
it's okay.
I actually really like it.
I wouldn't say it's anything. I like Sekiro and I like the Sculptor.
Yeah.
And Emma. Kuro kind of sounds a little odd to me. And Genichiro is the guy who plays Noctis in Final Fantasy 15,
really?
And every time I hear his voice, it kind of just is like, ugh.
I just found out that this is a little off topic, but
and he's from Anthem. He plays the freelancer male in Anthem, and it's kind of odd to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. Voice actor. I was playing Arkham Origins yesterday, and there's a different Batman. I mean, guy who plays Batman in that. I was like, I wonder who plays him. It's apparently the guy who plays Ezio.
Roger Craig Smith.
No. Is that his name?
Yeah,
that must have been it. Yeah. But no, I was like, oh shit, it's Ezio. Now I hear him.
So Troy Baker's Joker in there, right?
Yeah. Very. That is like he's so close to Hamill that you're like, this is great. This is fantastic. Yeah. But back to
Batman and Joker.
Yeah, that's fucking
very interesting.
It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to talk about. I don't know. I think. I mean, if you've never tried a Souls game before, I think this isn't a terrible game to jump in on. I don't know, like, what did Casey think? Didn't he say he was having some trouble getting into it?
He returned it.
Yeah.
I told him, I'm like, you are not going to like this game, man. I was like, this is not what you think it is.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not that easy. Like, it's definitely hard, but, like, if you, like, understand, like, what a Souls game is and kind of, like, have, like, that back knowledge, I was like, I wouldn't recommend anyone just... Hey, you've never played a Souls game or have no idea like what this is, I wouldn't say go get Sekiro at all.
I'd say, yeah, try it if you can, before you buy it. And you might like it. You might hate it.
If you played any Souls game, Bloodborne, I would recommend it. But like, you know, other than that, like I wouldn't like go and be like, you need to get this game.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's good. It's not, in my opinion, Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne beat it out easy. No contest. It's definitely not my favorite, but it's definitely better than Dark Souls 2, which is, in my opinion, the worst. Dark Souls 2 is not that good.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's an interesting. I think it's an interesting game. I like the mechanics. I think it's pretty different from what we've seen before, yet similar. If that makes any sense.
It's cut from the same cloth.
Definitely,
it's a From game. It's it's obviously a From Software game, but it's not exactly. Like what Bloodborne was to Dark Souls. It's definitely different than both of those franchises.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So maybe if you didn't like those games necessarily, but you played them and you kind of
like ideas of them. Yeah.
You like the dying a lot and the difficulty aspect of Sekiro and Souls and Bloodborne. I think you might like Sekiro if you weren't into Dark Souls or Bloodborne.
Yeah, and maybe. I think that kind of the stealth aspect kind of adds in a little bit of extra flavor too. I'm
curious if there's going to be DLC because there was one DLC for Bloodborne and it was called The Old Hunters.
Yeah.
And Dark Souls had.
This is making me want to go back and finish Bloodborne. I will say, playing this a bunch.
Yeah, so. Finish Bloodborne, dude. It's great.
Anything else, Dougage?
I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. If you've been watching us live on twitch.tv/DelcoNerdNetwork, we really appreciate it. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/DelcoNerdNetwork. Socials, Instagram, Twitter, @the Delco Nerds. We are on podcast services and all that good stuff.
@Delco Nerds, not the Delco Nerds.
Did I say the Delco Nerds?
I realized that I say that too.
I didn't even
realize
that.
And I was like, it's @Delco Nerds. But
I even know that. I know that it's Delco Nerds.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I was just like, I was thinking about it the other day, and I was just like, I think I say the Delco Nerds when it's just @Delco Nerds.
Okay.
But no. I just want to clarify.
No, I appreciate that. @Delco Nerds. Also, our YouTube channel, just search Delco Nerd Network. Our website, as always, you can find all of our pods on there.
www.delconerdnetwork.com.
And if you're listening to us on any pod services and all that good stuff, leave us a review. It really helps us out.
Yeah,
it gets our visibility up.
Google Play,
Spotify, iTunes,
Stitcher.
All the good stuff.
If we're not on a podcast app that you use, like tweet at us or let me or Trio know. I will look into it.
Definitely.
It's usually pretty easy to get on everything. The only thing that like requires payment is SoundCloud, and I'm like, we're on
Which
Spotify.
Is so weird.
Yeah, it is really weird. But like a lot of people use SoundCloud for like putting up music.
I was gonna say, isn't that more of like the music thing?
Yeah, that's why people use SoundCloud. But if you're in the Twitch chat, stick around. I'm gonna check out what you guys said because I did see some people chatting in.
And next week, watch out. We're doing our Avengers Endgame review live, so be sure to tune in. For
we're not sure what day. I think we're looking at Sunday, but it's probably it's probably gonna be.
Yeah,
Sunday.
It's probably gonna be Sunday. But for Gooch, for me, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Stay nerdy.